smile. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Thursday webinar with ScaleForEtail. It's really lovely to see a number of people on the attendee list who've been with us for some time and keep coming back for more. So that's a great feeling for those of us who organize these things all the time. But it would be awesome if everyone could just pop in to the chat box and say hello and let our speaker, who's virtually flown in from Israel. So that's quite a different one, isn't it? I don't think we've had another speaker from Israel so far this year. So just tell us where you are, whether you're in your living room or what country you're in. It doesn't matter. Anything is good. It just gives us the feeling that we're not talking to the ether and that we actually do have some people here who care and who are interested. Good morning from Leeds. Oh, that's pretty north. From St. Albans. Do you know Richard Evans? You've got my husband's name. It's very, very schizophrenic for me seeing you here. But I do know he's in the next room, so I know he's not on the webinar. So we're not for. Hi, Andrew. Hi, David. Hi, Richard. Heather, Martin, great to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Hi, Ian. So yeah, it's lovely. Hi, Gurdeep. Oh, you're in Birmingham. Great to see you, Kev. Ingrid. Now, if I forget someone, that doesn't mean oh, hi, Jag. How you doing? And so it's really lovely to see that everyone's still holding up well. Your spirits are good. I'm hoping your spirits are good because it looks like we're about to go into a second potential lockdown. I don't know if this is what it's like in Israel for you, Gilad, but we've had a lockdown of the whole country, and now what we've actually got is different cities that are going through their own separate kind of arrangements around COVID-19. So some are in like a city lockdown and others are experiencing freedom. So where I live, I'm very lucky. Maybe it's because we have more sheep than people, I'm not sure, but we seem to be having a fairly good situation where we don't have many cases, let alone, touch wood, any deaths. And so actually it's okay. But I'm really worried about just traveling down the road to, say, the next city, which is 15 minutes away. Oh dear, we've lost our speaker for a moment. Okay, well, I'm sure he'll be back.
Net connection, so
yeah, he has. But why don't I fill the void by telling everyone about one of the things that we're going to be covering at our next event. So Christian, would you just pop up that little lovely image that you had? Okay, so for those who are interested, as soon as we get Gilad back, and I'm sure we will, I'm really hoping he hasn't been cut off forever, our next session will be about Brexit. And I imagine everybody here is planning and preparing. Hi, Gilad, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
So just quickly about next week. So I'm sure everybody here is either prepared. Hands up if you're prepared and ready for Brexit. You've already planned it all. I'd like to see if anyone is feeling that
hands up in the chat. I think it's fine.
But I'm working through it, as I'm sure everybody else is. And so what we're going to do is present what I believe is the plan that we all should have, the workarounds that we need to put into place to run our businesses across Europe. And I'm bringing to the session, or the show, I feel like saying the show, it feels like a radio show, doesn't it? So we're bringing somebody who's a specialist for warehousing and fulfillment across the whole of Europe. We're bringing the banking partner, we're bringing the tax partner, and you're going to need to set up a company in Europe. So we're bringing the company registration partner as well. It'll be next Thursday at 11 a.m. So yeah, tune in and hopefully be there. We'll be answering questions, but it'll also be great to hear from other members of the audience, because I don't think anyone has a crystal ball here. So it'll be great to hear from other people, what they're going through, what they've discovered, and we can bring you on stage and make this a really good live session.
The other thing is, if people have questions in advance, then you go to our Facebook group. I'll pin the post probably during the session. I'll pin the Brexit one to the top. If you just post questions there, then if you are unable to attend live for any reason, then you will still get your question asked. And also we can prepare the speakers to answer the questions which have been posted in advance.
Yeah, great idea. And obviously there'll be offers from all of these speakers for the community. So great if you can be here live, but if not, that will be available in the replay, and we'll try and get slides up, etc., etc. Anyway, enough about next week. Let's focus on today, which is all about making your life easier. As an entrepreneur, we tend to have fingers in every single pie. I certainly do that. Hands up. I'm probably the most guilty of anyone I know. But I have learnt, obviously, over time, that the only way for me to achieve more is to make sure that I'm delegating the stuff that needs to be delegated. And that is practically everything that I can get off my plate that is repetitive, frankly. And I work with this lovely guy here from Israel, with Gilad. He has supplied me with VAs. And obviously, I only ever ask people to come on the show where I can put my hand on my heart. And so it gives me great pleasure to have him come on and talk about his experience, both as a leader of this business, which helps other Amazon sellers, as well as an Amazon seller himself. So there you go. Over to Gilad.
Hi, Shelly. Hi, Christian. Nice being here. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
Sorry, obligatory cup of tea here. We're in.
Yeah, I'm in Israel, so in here it's like 35, 40 degrees. So we drink water.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's pretty hot here today, so I'm probably. I should probably drink the water. Here it is, though.
I see. All right. Okay. So I'm happy to be here, and I will be happy to talk about virtual assistants and the power of delegating tasks to other people. I think that's pretty much the biggest problem that I'm facing with Amazon sellers. I've been selling on Amazon since 2015 and working with virtual assistants for 3.5 years now. And I think that when I'm talking to Amazon sellers, the biggest problem that they have is this issue. Like you mentioned, like taking control and doing everything yourself. It's much bigger issue than not knowing exactly PPC and doing some mistakes in customer service and not checking your reviews on time and so on. There are so many things that we can go wrong, but for the long run, for the growth of your business, I would say that to understand that you have to let go sometimes. It's the most crucial decision that you can take, and I'm going to talk about this.
Okay, good. And we, for those of you that want to ask questions as we go, there's a tab on your right-hand side, just on the other side of chat, where there are questions. And oh, hi, Steve from Scotland, and Wesley from Bushy. So pop any chat into the chat and any questions into the question box.
All right, so I'm gonna turn the presentation and we can start.
Yeah, lovely. Looking
forward
to this.
So let's do this. All right, do you see it?
Not yet.
All right, let me go. Not yet. You don't see it.
Not quite yet.
Do you see something?
No, we see you, which is very nice.
You see me?
Yeah.
All right. It's very strange. Okay. Because in my end, I see that I'm sharing my presentation.
Okay. In the actions at the top, have you pressed share?
Yeah, let me do it over again.
Okay.
On the actions.
Okay, cool.
Let me enable it and see if it works. Okay, we're going to try again. Let me know if you can see something now.
Can't yet, but I'm just answering a question for somebody that, no, we can't see anything. If your internet isn't stable or you're trying to, Gilad, it says you've lost your internet connection. Oh, no, that was before, forget that. If for whatever reason your internet connection isn't stable, don't worry, there is a replay, but you won't be able to ask the questions right now live, obviously, but otherwise there is a replay. And as Christian has said, it's exactly the same link. You'll just need to add your name and then you go in and it's there forever, isn't it? Forever. Yeah, we never take it down. Gilad, have you sent us your presentation?
I'm sorry, what? Can I send it to you?
Yeah, and one of us could bring it up.
If you email it to us, I can run it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone, we tested this before we went live. Before we went, the presentation, the webinar went live and it was all working fine. So not sure why it's not playing ball now.
I don't know. I'm going to send it to you anyway right now. Christian, I'm going to send it to you.
Yeah, and then...
Sorry for this delay. I have a perfect internet connection in here. So I'm going to check.
Okay. Well, just send it to Christian and we'll run it for you. So that's not a problem. It'll be a bit kind of press slide, but still. So just do a bit, whilst we're waiting for that to all go through the internet, just do a quick introduction, Gilad, about what you've got there, perhaps with your team. Just how many?
All right. So I'm gonna talk about us, and like I said, I've been selling on Amazon since 2015, and the way it started is that around 2017 things were going pretty good and pretty fast, and I wanted to upscale and to grow my business bigger, and I took the decision of hiring my first virtual assistant, and it did not quite go the way I expected it to go. I took a lot of time and effort into finding the right VA. I posted an ad. I spent hours of interviewing people and checking their CVs and giving them assignments and everything. And then I chose the right person that I was sure that she is going to be the perfect match. And we started this whole thing. And then after about a month of working together, she just stopped working with me, and we had to start all over again. And I really understood that she just disappeared. You know, she stopped replying to my messages, stopped basically just disappeared. And I realized that this is something that happens quite a lot, not necessarily with the Filipinos, but in general. And it was not the way I intended, and to go through all this process all over again was really a pain in the ass, and from that on, this is the moment that the VA Academy Philippines was started. I see that there is a presentation here, but I don't know if it's coming from my side or from your side.
From me.
From your side.
Okay, so should we launch into it? Since it's there, look at it. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So, all right. So very strange that it's happening like this, but let's do it. So yeah. So let's start with this. And Christian, I'll tell you to change to push the button every time. Okay. So let's do it this way. So I wanted to start.
Christian is very technical, so don't worry about that. He can handle it.
Okay. So I wanted to start with a simple question that I get a lot of time, and really I think summarizes the entire problem. The question is like, why do I need a VA? I'm currently doing everything myself. and it works just fine. I think that why I summarize this this problem, because in contrast to what we know from the other world, the offline world, where we are so used to having people working with us and delegating and taking employees, then in this thing that's called online and e-commerce, suddenly we forget everything that we knew before that was working, and we think that we're the smartest persons in the world, and we just, because everything is just in front of us, everything is in this computer, so I can do everything just by clicking. I can answer the customer service messages, and I can create a refund, and I can do Facebook marketing, and I can, it's just I can do the PPC. Why not? It's just in front of me, and I know it. So suddenly everything is so simple because it's there. But it's a huge mistake, because it means that basically you will never have the time to grow your business. You will just start to become more and more like a slave to your business. And if I give you an example of a business outside of the e-commerce world, like let's take a restaurant. Okay, when you're opening a restaurant, even if you have no idea how to run a restaurant, the first thing that you will actually do would be to hire somebody to serve the food, and another person to cook the food, and somebody else to do the bookkeeping, and somebody else to wash the dishes. I mean, it's so obvious to us that we cannot run to the kitchen, create the food, then take the food, run to the customers, because if we do that, then it will not work. I mean, people will be disappointed, but in the end of the day, will not have time to grow our business. And we, as the owner of the restaurant, should focus only on growing our business, thinking where our restaurant should be in a year from now, in 5 years from now, how we can get more customers. And when you're cooking the food and serving the dishes and doing everything, then everybody knows that it's not going to work. So how come it's so not obvious to us when we're working e-commerce? And I think that once you understand this, once you understand that your job as the owner of the company, as the founder of a business, would be to focus only on the things that you can do, then this is where things can change. Then you start to have a better understanding of where and how to work and how to do e-commerce. And I think, Kristen,
your voice is crackling a little bit. I'm going to try turning your video off, just see if it makes a difference. And if it is better, we'll turn it off. If it makes a difference, we'll turn the video back on again. I thought it was just on my computer, but Adam's also mentioned it.
All right, just a second.
You're on mute, Shelley.
Sorry, I'm on mute, and I'm not even noticing that my mouth is moving, but no sound is coming out. So it looks like Gilad has decided to log back in. Rather than mute. Okay, there we are. Oh no, that's your screen twice, is it, Christian?
It's me and the presentation.
You and the presentation.
I apologize everyone for the technical difficulties. we thought we'd got the plan to our team.
You, aren't we? It's not usually like this. Oh, should we have a sneak peek to see what comes next?
It's a very nice picture of Superman.
Is there? Oh, okay. I'm looking forward to that. Oh, yeah, the Superman. Okay. Hey, Gilad, can you see everything?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm gonna try to turn off the video.
No, you're fine now. It's okay now. This is great.
Okay. All right.
Again, I can turn off your video, and I'll try turning it off from here and just see if it makes a difference. If your face disappears, then don't worry.
Okay.
Cool.
I can handle this.
Back to the.
You want to show me back the presentation?
Okay. You good?
Yeah, I still see myself though.
Yeah, it's fine. It's good.
All right. So yeah, let's go to the next click. And we'll talk about what we call Superman syndrome. It's not my phrase. It's really something very common in the e-commerce business, because it happens to so many of us. So this is us. This is us as superheroes, thinking that we can actually manage everything ourselves because we have the knowledge, we have the time, we think we have the time to do everything, and we want to experiment and do things ourselves. And the only problem with this image is that once we start to do everything ourselves, two things will happen. The first thing that will happen is that we're going to have more and more tasks to do. So in the beginning, we're only going to have like a few messages for customers, so we're going to answer them. But then we're going to have more and more messages, and then there's going to be a negative review coming in, and we'll have to address that, and we'll have to find the customer and connect with them and trying to make them change their mind. And then there's going to be we're going to start do PPC, and then we want to start posting on social media every time, and we see that we don't get the right amount of time that we wanted in the beginning. And what will happen basically is that we'll start to do only the things that we cannot do without. So yeah, this says wait for my clicks. It's I'm having tension. I'm building it. So I'm building it. So yeah, but it means that basically you're going to see that you have less and less time available, and you're going to focus only on the things that are crucial to your business. For example, if a customer is sending you a message on Sales Central, then you know that you have 24 hours to reply, so you'll do that. But you'll not do the things that are not urgent, that are not mandatory. And then basically the business will not grow the same way that you want because you're only focusing on the urgent. And the second thing that will happen is that you eventually get tired from it. You get tired because you're doing again and again the same tasks. You don't find time to grow your business. You don't have time to be creative enough, and you're just doing everything that you have to do, and that makes you tired because you will just see another message from a customer, and you say, "Oh no, another message that I have to answer now. Who has the time for this? Oh no, another negative review. Now I have to start communicating with this customer." Instead of thinking, "Wow, this is a great opportunity for me to connect with somebody, to convince them that they are wrong, and to send them a new product for free, and have them giving us a 5-star review and recommending us to everybody else." Instead of understanding the opportunity, you start to see it as a hassle, and this will make you, instead of this Superman, the one on the left, you will eventually become the Superman on the right. And I can see it with sellers that usually after 2 or 3 years of selling together, if they are continuing to do everything themselves, then they start to become this kind of Superman. So Christian, you can move on to the next slide. And we could talk now about like how could a VA help your business. And next click, and we can see that a VA can help you basically. Can you click again? A VA can help you basically with 4 things. The first one is that somebody can take off from you all the work that must be done on a daily basis. I talked about it before when I mentioned the messages from customers or negative reviews. So things that happen every day, and you know that you have to do them. You have to check your messages. You have to check your listings to see that all the top reviews are on the right place. You have to see that your inventory is not out. You have to check what's going on with your shipment plans. So all the things that are happening on daily basis, then somebody else can do for you. And usually I ask myself this question. I ask myself, like, is this thing that I'm doing now on Sales Central, is it absolutely crucial that I will be the one doing it as the owner of the business? Is this something that only my skills and decision-making could handle? Or somebody else with the right training, with the right attitude, with the right motivation, but somebody else can do this task for me? And if the answer is yes, I delegate it. I give it to somebody else to do so I can focus more on growing my business. So that's the first point. Let's go to the second point. All right, so the second point will be the advanced work that you would normally postpone. And that doesn't mean the things that the business will collapse if you will not do. It actually means that all the things that you postpone for when the business will be big enough. For example, social media. Okay, we usually concentrate in Amazon. So this is on selling on Amazon, on Seller Central. And we say, okay, when the business will grow, I will start posting on regular basis on my Facebook page. I will start to collect to grow a community. I will start to create a newsletter. I will start to do all these things that are considered to be more advanced. But I always postpone them because I say now it's not the right time. But guess what? A VA that is only dedicated to do this, to posting on your Facebook page, to create a community, to answer to customers, to create a newsletter, to work with influencers, all these things, they're super important for your business, but you're always postponing them because you think that it's too complicated for you to learn or to do yourself. So this is a perfect role for a VA to help you with. And let's go on to the third point, and we'll see from there that it doesn't end in these 2 points here. Let's go to the third one. Okay, the third one will be to giving you the freedom to manage your business instead of working in it. And I mentioned it a little bit before, like when you're doing everything yourself, then you're actually working in your business. You're not different from any other job that you did before that as an employee, because basically you're doing what needs to be done. It's just you that giving yourself the decision, the instructions. But when you're actually becoming a manager of a business, so you have employees, then you already deciding what's the path, where your business is going to be, what's your purpose of the business, when do you want to sell it, if you want to sell it. So click again the button and I'll show you what I mean, or maybe I'll show you like what I don't mean by managing the business. So this is not what I mean by my managing the business. A lot of people think, and we had all these courses selling online, showing you like, okay, this is where you'll be on a hammock on a computer that is not even on and no Wi-Fi, and you're just enjoying life and working from the beach. This is not what I mean. When I mean managing the business, it means that you will finally have time to really grow your business, to concentrate on the things that only you as the owner of the business can do, and to work on that, and then have the VAs working on the everyday tasks that somebody else can do for you. And let's go on to the fourth point, Christian, and then that's eventually the fourth and the last option for you to work with your business, doing your business, and that's selling your business. And imagine the difference between when somebody's going to buy your business, somebody's thinking about purchasing your business, and they look at your business and they see that the customer service is done by you, and the PPC is done by you, and the social media is done by you, and making all the shipment inventory plans and everything is done again and again by yourself. So how can you sell this kind of business, even if it's making you thousands of dollars every month? And when you're taking yourself out of this equation, then the business is nothing, okay? When somebody's buying a business, they will be looking for how this business will work without you, how you could step aside and the business would continue to roll and continue to sell in the same level. And then they can take this business and maybe even put more money in it and make it grow. But they take a business that knows how to operate itself. And without VAs working with you on that, then your dream of selling your business is not even close to reality. You have to understand that once you're doing everything, then it stays with you. So this is like you can already click on the next page, but this is like how a VA could help you with your business. And now we'll start to work and we'll start to talk about Amazon, because we're all Amazon sellers here. And let's talk about how an Amazon VA can help you with. And you as the owner of the business, which 4 type of VAs, it can be more, it can be less, but I think the most crucial VAs for you to hire, not necessarily all together in the same time, but you should inspire to have these 4 types of VAs. The first one is an Amazon VA, basically focusing on everything on Seller Central. We'll talk about it in a minute. The next one is PPC VA. Why it's not the same person? Because it's not the same character. It's not the same qualification. A PPC VA would be more like somebody really good in numbers, excels, really good in mathematics, and this is what they will excel in. And an Amazon VA will be completely different, will have a completely different personality. And the same goes with social media VAs. Social media VAs, we're going to be looking for somebody with great English, great way of expressing herself, creativity, a love of Facebook, Instagram. It's a different character. And anyway, I'm not a fond of having one person doing everything. It goes back to this Superman thing. I want that everybody will excel in what they do best, and this is what they will do in my business. And the fourth type is graphic designer that will help me on the everyday work on photos and videos and so on. So we're going to focus in this presentation. You can already click the next one. We're going to focus on the first three types of VAs: the Amazon VA, the PPC, and the social media. Go ahead, click on the next one. You can click already and open the next one as well. So first, let's talk about customer service, because this is classic task to be given to a virtual assistant. If you are the one now answering all your messages, requesting for feedbacks, replying to reviews, positive and negative. So many of us are only answering and replying to the negative ones, but forget about the positive. Why is that? Why don't we answer to positive reviews? We're getting reviews that are good. People love our products. Why don't we put enough time to answer them and to tell them, thank you very much for liking our project? You think that nobody is looking at that? Of course they do. And this really represents a company that cares about their customers. So dealing with refunds. I know that Amazon, if you're selling FBA, then Amazon will take care of it. But what about connecting with this person, understanding why they decided to return your product and make it better? Or shipping them a gift or some kind and getting a review, a 5-star review for the way that you handle it. So all these things are customer service tasks that can easily be given to an Amazon VA. The next point is inventory check. You can always click on the next point before. So inventory check is basically making sure that you'll never be out of stock. So checking all the statistics and making sure that you have enough inventory until the next shipment. And that goes also the shipment plans, creating the shipment plans for you, checking when is the right time, connecting with your supplier, and getting your approval of the right amount, and then checking it. When I'm saying ASINs management, then I actually mean like having somebody going over your listings of all the different products every day, and helping you, making sure that everything is on the right place, like making sure that you still have the buy box, making sure that you have all the photos and nobody took or changed your photos somehow, and making sure that all your top reviews are the right ones. Nobody, not some kind of a negative review jumped into the top review for some reason because somebody liked it, and all the Q&As are the right Q&As that you want. So having somebody always making sure that things are there. Otherwise, you could have. I see some of my the people that I talk with. I see on Amazon listings that still says on the first bullet, it will say like a 20% discount for Christmas. And you know, and it means that really like nobody is looking at the listings. Nobody is taking care because they did it on November and they forgot about it and it's left. And what do customers think when they see it? You know, so having somebody dedicated to checking your ASINs, cases management. Wow, this is so obvious. I mean, if I would take a VA just for that, you know, the time that you take to be on the phone or to do all these cases with what's happening to the listings or what's happening to the shipment and so on. So having the VA handle it for you, and of course, if you're already are selling for a long time, then you know that your objective is to continue to source for products and checking for better suppliers and making things better and creating more products. So a VA can definitely help you with looking for right products, checking profitability, looking on Helium 10 or any other tools that are available, and making your life easier instead of you going hours and hours and looking for these things yourself. So I would say that an Amazon VA is really like the base of starting to work and understanding that there's so many things that you can delegate instead of doing them yourself. Imagine how much time you will have free to grow your business if all these things are taken care of by a VA. So suddenly you can really focus on growing their business, on doing things that you never thought before of doing. So this is really the objective. The objective will be to allow you to grow your business. And this is really what happens. I can see it when I'm working with sellers, that they take a VA, and I see that a few months after they add more hours because suddenly they understand how proficient the VA can be helping them. So they take more hours, so the VA will have more and more responsibilities, and their business grows. So this is really like the basic to start with an Amazon VA. Let's go now to the next slide and talk about a PPC VA. And like we mentioned before, a PPC VA will be somebody with a completely different knowledge. It doesn't mean that you don't need to know PPC. A lot of people asking me about it. It means that you will have somebody helping you and doing all these tasks that are related to PPC, but it's still going to be you who's managing them. And Shelley, I think you can give a perfect example. When you're working with a social media VA, you know a lot. You know a lot about social media. I know it when I talk to you, and I see that you know how to manage a VA because you know social media. And it's the same thing about PPC. When you know PPC, then you know how to work with a VA, but it doesn't mean that you have to do everything yourself. It doesn't mean that you have to do all the bit of optimization yourself and all the ACOS management, checking all the keywords daily. And you can go and open the next slide or two, the next click or two. But basically, you will have somebody doing all this work for you, and it doesn't stop with the bit of optimization. It goes to keyword research all the time, checking your reports, extracting keywords from there, extracting search terms from there, applying them into the different campaigns. Go to the next ones, and basically we'll have somebody who's really taking the PPC away from you and just allowing you to focusing on management. We'll have here, I also added product targeting, which is fairly new. It started last year, but it's something that is really intense and important. And negative targeting is something that really just popped out about a week ago. Amazon released it that they will allow negative targeting on ASIN targeting, basically, with auto campaigns. So you will have the VA going over your keywords, your reports, and understanding which ASINs to add to the negative auto campaigns, and put on the next one. So basically, it means that you could have somebody who's all dedicated to PPC. They always learn new things. They always can tell you what are the new things that just popped out on Amazon, and making sure that you're there. Video ads is one of these examples. Not so many people use them because it's new, but it doesn't mean that you don't have to be there. If I'm looking at the CPC, the cost per click of a video ad, of an average video ad today, I would see it less than $1. I would go usually for like 50 cents a click, which is amazing because the conversion rate of a video ad is much higher than any other ad and any other photo. So you have something that converts better and in the same time costs you less, but it's only if you know to apply it fast enough and to be there when it happens. And a VA can tell you that it happens because they're always checking what's new on Amazon PPC, and they can also help you to connect with a designer, with a video editor, and to create these videos for you for the products, and then already put them on campaigns and check them. So you have somebody helping you to advance. You have somebody to talk with and to decide what you want to do next, which is great. And you can click again. I'll just show a photo of how does it look like on the video ads, and you can see why it's so important. I'm waiting for it to see. Okay, so you can see how much space in the advertisement you can have for video ads. You can already click for the next one, but we got the picture. It means that it's very, very clear and it's very attractive, but you have to be there. And let's talk social media VA for a second. Social media VAs are something not obvious. Usually we understand Amazon VAs, we understand PPC VAs because this is really like our everyday work. But social media VAs, a lot of us don't know enough about, and we think, is this the right time for us to work with social media VAs? And the answer is yes. The sooner you start building your brand outside of Amazon, then you would have better chances of selling in Amazon. You will have a better amount of people following your brand and not just competing with other brands on Amazon. And the first two tasks are obviously a social media VA can help you with is creating and managing your Facebook page, your Instagram page, but it can go much more than that. I mean, let's click on the next one and see that social media VAs can help you with influencers, which I think today is one of the most crucial things. Having an influencer in a world that is difficult to get reviews, then I see that when you're working correctly with a VA and an influencer, the VA can help you finding the right influencer for your brand, connecting, and this is not so easy. It's not just clicking on influencer and your brand and that's it. You don't look for the big shots that has millions of followers. You should look for micro influencers that have a very tight amount of people following them and listening to them. And then you're connecting with them, introducing your brand, showing your Facebook page, your products, convincing this influencer to write an article about you, test your product and make a video about it on YouTube or on Instagram. And then you can even decide together what's the deal that you want to make, ship a sample, follow up on the blog, making sure that it's published on time. And after that, if your objective will be to get more followers, more direct clients, then you can, instead of just giving a coupon code, you can ask for an email list of the people that are interested in getting a rebate. And then you'll be already connecting with these people directly, sending them directly their coupon codes. And in the same time, you will already have their email address, which you will be able to use when launching your next product or for newsletters, for example. But you could also ask them for a review. It's going to be a bit tricky, but it's not going to be done under Amazon. You're not going to be offering them any service. You're just sending them a product and then asking them later by their email if they like it. It's not the same people that are in all these Facebook groups that are there only because they like discounts and they leave reviews right and left. It's people that actually join this because they love your product, because you found them on the right niche from the right influencer. It's completely different thing. So I would say that this is enormous and important for anybody selling on Amazon. And again, it doesn't stop there because there's so many things that the social media they can do. So click again on the next one. And the next point is actually something connected between social media and Amazon. And we'll see it in a second. I'm waiting for number 4 to pop out. It's there.
Amazon Post, you mean that?
Yeah, I don't see it, but you can see it.
It's there.
All right. So for some reason on my side, I don't see it. But Amazon Post, basically, I don't know if you're, now I can see it. So Amazon Post means, if you don't know, if you're not familiar with it, it started last year and it's something fairly new and it's still free. So you should take advantage of it if you're selling on Amazon.com and you're a registered brand. But it means that you can actually post on Amazon. You can write posts that looks pretty much the same as Facebook posts and post them on a regular basis as many times as you want, like 5 times a day if you want. And you can post different posts and check what is more converting. But it's not just that it's going to be showing up on your listings. Better, it's going to be showing on your competitors' listings. So somebody can read all the listings of your competitor, be all excited to buying it, and then seeing your post over there, clicking on it, and then eventually purchasing from you. And this is all free. It will not even cost you a click. So this is something that an Amazon a social media VA can be there for you, like posting all the time on Amazon Post and checking the conversion rates and checking which post was converting better, because it gives you statistics. You can click on the next one, so we can see there is a photo that I created. I took from Amazon themselves. Do you see it already, or it's now I can see it. So in here you can see an explanation why Amazon is telling you about the post, but you can see also examples how it looks like in your listings, in your competitors' listings, on the deals page, and this is all free and you can just do it. But how many of you actually do it now? How many of you really have the time to even know that this exists? How many of you really have the time to post once a day, twice a day, once in a week even? It's really if you have somebody who's all dedicated to do it for you, and they know that their job is to post every day. That's their job, and they do it every day, so you have this taken care of, which I think really separates between the big sellers that are selling a lot and they're reaching a good quantity of sales a month, and the ones that are not, because they're not using and taking advantage of all the possibilities that Amazon gives us. So this is really like about social media videos. You can click on the next ones. All right, so I think I covered everything about the three types of VAs. If you have any urgent questions, let me know. But if not, then we'll continue and we'll have questions in the end. I would like to start covering now more of the way that you work with multiple VAs, because we're actually talking now about working with a team of VAs. So it's not like one VA that will be doing everything for you. It's like, how do you work and how do you manage at least 3 VAs? Like I said, it doesn't mean that you have to hire 3 VAs straight from day one, but you should inspire to be there. You should inspire to have at least these 3 types of VAs plus a graphic designer. And let's talk communication. So a lot of people don't know, but they ask me, like, how should I communicate with a virtual assistant? Because it sounds so crazy. It's a virtual assistant. They're not virtual. They're actual people just in the Philippines. And the way that you communicate with them is either by a WhatsApp. I use WhatsApp all the time communicating with my VAs. I walk the dog in the morning and I record messages, and then they report to me back later on. You can have Skype or Google Hangouts in order to have videos. So that's like the step 1, to work with these kind of tools. You can click on the next one, and we'll give you the next step. The next step will be when you already want to have some advantages of communicating with several VAs in the same time. Did you click it?
Yeah.
What
yes,
do you see?
Slack and Chanty.
All right. So I'm probably it will show up on my end sooner or later. But when working with several VAs together, then it means that you already could work with softwares that are all designed for that. Either Slack or Chanty exist, and you can click again just to see the photos of them. So either Slack or Chanty, they exist exactly for that. They will allow you, and you can see on the left and on the right, you see the 2 versions of your. They're very similar. They're Chanty on the left, Slack on the right. But you can have really, it looks like WhatsApp for groups, for companies. So you can decide what are the topics. You can decide that one topic will be Amazon products, and the next topic will be social media. And you can decide which VAs will be connected to which subject, and everything is stored over there, so it's really easy to find, and you can add tasks over there. So this is really like the next level, and you can see that it's not so expensive. You have, for both of them, Slack and Chanty, you have the free version of it. Chanty is cheaper because it's less known. Slack is really the most common one, and even if the paid one costs like $8 per month, it costs more when you add more and more VAs and you start to link other softwares into it and applications. But you could definitely start with the free version of it, and it really changes the way you work. So communicating with VAs is very easy. The most important thing to ask from VAs is that they will report to you. They will send you some reports in the end of their day of what they did. So even if they will have their own schedule of work, and in the end of the day, you will get a report from them about the things that they did. And let's move on to the next slide.
So that just added Zoom. So what's
all right. Right, you're right. So click again on Zoom. So Zoom, obviously, when I wanted to talk about Zoom, it was when there was no Corona, and it was really like a discovery for people. I would say that now people know Zoom and good enough to understand the power of it. But basically, I'm having every month, I'm having a meeting with all our VAs. We have about 80 VAs, and we have a Zoom meeting of all the VAs together. Last time they all wore the mask. We sent them a mask with the VAA logo on it. So I have like a picture of Zoom with 80 photos with all covers with the mask. So yeah, you can have a very good conversations, video conversation with your VAs using Zoom. And the next topic is to talk more about managing your VAs. So the best way to start is first of all to create these SOPs. You can create them on Google Docs, and you can go on Wiki and use them. But the idea would be that the VAs will have a structure. They will know what they need to do. Everything will be documented. And it doesn't mean necessarily that you have to spend like 2 years now to prepare all these SOPs. It means that the VA would need to do them. The VA will create the SOPs for you. You will share the screen together with the VA when you start working with them. You will record the video when you're starting. It could be either by Zoom or any other software. There are so many that I can recommend of recording your screen. And then you will show the VA what you want to do and the way that they will work. And then they will watch it again and again in the video. We'll create the SOP for you. And then you could see from the SOP if they understood everything perfectly. For them, it will be much easier to remember because they really created a document about it after watching the video several times. And now you already have it documented. So the next VA that will step in, either a secondary VA or if one is replacing the other, everything is already prepared. So working with SOPs is crucial, but it doesn't mean that you have to do everything yourself. And the next point after Google Docs, you can click and see the next one. It's basically softwares that are helping you to actually manage the tasks on, yeah.
Okay, so just want to say something there is that the biggest hurdle I had mentally towards getting my first VA was this concept of writing out what they had to do. And I experimented with it, I don't know, about 8-9 years ago. And it took me forever to write out SOPs and work out what to do and write them out on documents. And it was a pain and I never got anywhere. But then I realized, and someone pointed out to me, you can just basically screen record yourself doing the task once with a bit of voiceover, and then you give it to a VA. So you only have to do the task once. It doesn't take you any longer than doing the task once. And then you give it to the VA, and they can then do that task every day, twice a day, once a week, whatever it is, forever, and just come back to you if there's some questions of system changes. And that, to me, was the biggest step between not having a VA and moving forward and actually working out and working with others.
And I'm just going to jump in as well, because Christian is talking to you all as somebody who's actually very good at process. Okay, he's come from an IT project management background. He would create the most amazing SOPs, and in fact, if you ever spoke to him about some of the stuff he's got in the background, it's freaking phenomenal. So me, on the other hand, I'm really crap at this. I hate it. I don't like writing process documents. I've never liked process management in my career when I've had to do it before. I find it utterly boring. And it's like watching paint dry and then having to spit it out as well. It's just, ugh. So the way I do it is that I go on Loom, like you said, and I record, and as you can imagine, I also give my commentary, and I want you to think about this and I want you to think about that, and not just follow a system. I kind of add a bit more to it. Then I send them that Loom video. Then I get them to do the task. Then I don't use Slack, I use Asana. Then I get them to put it on Asana. And then I get them to send me back the SOP. And I check that it's fine. And then we keep that for, God forbid, a bus runs over my poor VA, or we get another one into the team, and she's then able to train that other one in the SOP that she created, that she's using day to day, and that I know she's incorporated into her body and her soul because she wrote the SOP after watching the video and doing it a couple of times. So really, it does sound awfully dull and horrible to do it, but actually once you get into it and you're practical, it's not that difficult.
And I tell you, it's really like much more effective when they write it, because when you're teaching, a lot of people don't even record. They share the screen and they work together with the VA, showing them how to do stuff. But you have to remember that when you're sharing a screen, in the other side, there could be somebody who's a bit frightened that, they will not level to your expectations. So they are a little bit timid to ask questions or to tell that they didn't understand anything. And they will say yes and yes, and then they will forget what it is that you explained. And then that's the wrong way of working. But if you either record it yourself on your own time or share the screen and show the VA what needs to be done, but record it, and then the VA can watch it again and again, and they create the SOPs. So it takes nothing from you. And the VA, like you said, they will be in charge of it. They will know that this is their SOP. They created it, so they will know it better than you in the end. So that's the way to work.
Yeah, and if they make a mistake halfway through, or they come up with some deviation I couldn't even have predicted or imagined, that's fine. I just shoot another Loom video where I explain how not to get into that piece of hot water again. And we add that to this SOP that we're creating, because that only ever happens the first time. And after that, it's done. So yeah, it's not a big deal. And there are some complex things that we can get our VAs to do once you've established their skill level, obviously.
Right, and you mentioned Asana, so I mentioned here two options. I mentioned Trello and Asana. You can click again, and then we'll see a photo of both of them, and we'll see again that they look pretty much the same, but they really allow you to manage your task. You can create a task, and you can decide which VAs to assign them to, and there are cards that you can move from one line to the other, and so it really makes it much easier and faster to work. Yeah, you can see it in here, Trello on the left, Asana on the right, but here they didn't take it. It can look exactly the same because both they have this Canva way of working, but basically it's all about creating tasks, coloring them on urgency or whatever you decide to call them, and giving them the dates and so on. So it's very easy to work like that and work with multiple VAs. And you can see that both of them actually have free versions, and even the monthly cost is not that huge. So it's definitely meant for VAs. Okay, and you can go to the next slide. After we already talked about communicating with the VAs, managing the VAs. So the next slide will be all about security. Do you guys see it? I don't see it at the next slide. It is security. All right. Yeah, I see it. I see it a few seconds after you because because you're the one changing it. So security and monitoring the VAs. A lot of people ask me about this. Does it mean that my VA will have all the knowledge that on Seller Central? Will they have access to my bank account? Could they change could they kick me out of Seller Central? So it doesn't work like that. Seller Central is there is something called user permission. You should never give your username and password to your VA. You create a user permission for them, and you enter their email address, or you create an email address for them, and then you can decide exactly for each and every menu on Seller Central if the VA will have access to it. Maybe they will not even be able to watch it. They will not even be able to see that this menu exists. And if they will, then you can decide if they're just going to be able to view it or to edit and change things in there. So you can really decide to do that the VA will be exposed and do exactly what you want the VA to do. So that's one thing about Seller Central. And monitoring your VA is different. And here you can click on the next. So we'll see how it works. There are actually several companies that I gave here a Time Doctor as one option. There is HubStuff also that works like that. And basically these are like the big brother companies. They will give you information to monitor the work of your VAs to the very end, the maximum level that you can think of. You could know over there, it's not just screenshots of your VAs, it's you could already see which websites they've visited during their work time, and where they were working from, if it was from their home or from a coffee shop, and you can even get statistics of their mouse and keyboard movement. So, for example, if somebody's working like normally, then you should expect that I would say like 50% of the time something will move, either the mouse or the keyboard, and 50% of the time they will be reading or thinking or doing something else. But if, for example, then it drops down to like 5% or 0%, then something is wrong. And then you can even decide that there will be an alert sent to your phone if it's been too long that this percentage is low. So there is no end to what you can be exposed to and monitor your VA. However, the question is, again, if you should have it. I mean, do you want to chase and go over all the things that your VA is doing every day, like looking all the time at the screenshots, and imagine now that you have several VAs to look after? So this is a good question. I prefer to work differently. I prefer to work with my VAs on a very determined schedule, so they know exactly which things they have to do every day. They know each thing that they do, they have the SOPs for it, so they know how to do it. They know what they need to report to me in the end of the day. They know to tell me if something is wrong or something is not as expected. And I give them targets, so they know what's their target for this day and for this week and for the end of the month. And we can see if they will handle the targets, if they will reach to their goals. And that's really the best way that on my end, on my point of view, to work with VAs. Of course, you will need to have good VAs for that. You will need to have somebody that was filtered well enough and that you can really trust on them. And it's not going to be working with any VAs in the Philippines. But if you have the right VA that you trust, then I prefer to work that way. But I wanted to show you that both ways exist. And let's move on to the next slide.
I would just add a couple more things around monitoring and security. And this is me. I'm a bit clear that my brand really needs to be protected. Mm-hmm. So the other thing I do is I make sure that they use Dropbox in order to store any documents. And I make it a very specific requirement when I start out with anybody new that they both sign an NDA, which, let's be honest, might not be legally enforceable, but it's about the thinking and the mindset that I'm trying to create here. I brief them not to save documents outside of Dropbox on their desktop or on their machines or anything like that. Everything has to go into this company place that I have created for them, which happens to be my tool of choice is Dropbox. Yours could be OneDrive or anything else that you want to use. But it's really clear that they have to use that. I'm not a Google user, so I don't use Google Docs. I use Word and Microsoft, but hey, it doesn't matter. The point is everything goes into this one place, and therefore I control when they have access. I also give them their own emails for my brand. So they are not using their general email address, or they're not mixing me up maybe with anyone else that they've ever worked with, or their Gmail accounts. I make sure that they use, it might be a Gmail email address, but I give it to them and it comes from my brand. And so it's like mybrand@gmail.com. And they have to use that and use that inbox. So I know that they are keeping all of the work associated with me, all of the communication we might do over email in this one place. And clearly, if ever we stop working together, then I just remove their access. And that adds an element of security and protection, I think, for the business as well.
Yeah, totally. And I will even add that there is something called LastPass. So LastPass, you don't even have to give them access, like the password. The password, you can just send them a link with a password, and they will use this link, and it will open the software without them knowing what's the password. Right.
Okay, even better. Yeah. So we should add that to the list.
Yeah, and let's talk about. I want to briefly say about the biggest problems that for Amazon sellers once they've decided taking a VA, and this is a problem that I faced before, and I see that so many people are facing today. The first question, the first problem is, where do I find a good and a trusted VA? This is already like a subject for a full webinar just to talk about how do you find VAs. That was not the purpose of this one, but it's definitely something difficult. It's not just that you post an ad and then one person will apply and that will be your perfect VA. Usually you will get like 70 to 100 applications, and you will start to talking with them and interviewing them and checking their level, and not necessarily that what you will hear from them is the truth, or that it's really is the things are like they say. So it's not just, I would say that don't trust on any CVs and that's it. And they can manipulate with it like everybody else in every place in the world. Play a little bit. Everybody is working, describes himself as a manager. So it's complicated, and it takes a lot of time to find a good VA that you can trust. And the second problem is, and you can click it, is that who has time to teach her everything, her or him actually, on Amazon? I mean, once you found somebody who's that good and you can trust on, now you have to start from the very beginning, teach them everything you know about Amazon, and it brings us to basically about us. I mean, this is really what we do. We answer these two problems that we found with so many Amazon sellers, including myself as a seller. This was the reason that we founded VAA. So if you click on the next slide, you will see a little bit about what we do. And in VAA, we all about working with virtual assistants from the Philippines. VAA stands for VA Academy Philippines. We specialize in matching Amazon sellers worldwide with skilled and dedicated virtual assistants in the Philippines. We put a lot of effort into finding the ones that we can trust. Our filtering process takes over 2 months. So it's not that we're looking at the CVs, ask them if they have experience, and okay, great, you're in. We put a lot of effort into interview, into test, and checking their English level and their commitment and motivation and a lot of things. And usually I would say that from the applicants that come to us, are about 2 to 3% are accepted, the rest are dropped. So after we found those that we can trust and that they're good enough to stay with us, then we train them specifically on Amazon. And like I said, we have different departments. We have social media and PPC and Amazon and Seller Central. So everything is, each VA according to their capabilities and their character will be given a different training about Amazon. And we continue to train these VAs all the time. Every time there are updates about Amazon, new things that we want to teach them. So every month we create more and more training, so the VAs will stay with you for the long run and will just become more and more professional. And of course, the smooth integration, it means that we don't take as granted that you already know how to work with VAs. Even if this is your first time working with the VA, we are going to teach you how to work with VAs. We're going to give you some tips and advice and expose you to some tools and making sure that you know how to work with the VA, how to create a schedule for the VA, what to expect from working with the VA. We connect you with a manager on our side that is already a VA herself for several years and has the experience in working together with you and helping you if you have any questions or problems. So you always have somebody to work with you in addition to the VA herself. And that's pretty much what we do. And yes, Shelly, to your question before, there is an advantage of your community, and whoever comes to us from ScaleForEtail and will mention your name, then they will get a special discount. There is a very good deduction, and also we're gonna be connecting them and giving them extra time with the consultation meeting with the manager as well, in addition to the discount. So I think that this covers pretty much everything on the presentation. Take it away. Tell me how you wanna work.
Yeah. One key question that I think is on the tip of everyone's mind is, what are you charging on a per hour basis for the different VAs that you talked about? Can you just go through that quickly?
Yeah, sure. Working with us, there are two types of payment. There is a one-time payment of $180 that you're paying only once when you're taking a VA, when you're starting the process, and it's like an entry fee for that VA, paying for all the training and filtering that was already done. It includes all that future training that we create all the time, so you never have to pay for any additional training again. And it includes also the guarantee that if you're not happy from the VA, no matter if it's now or in 2 years from now, then we're committed to changing the VA and giving you another VA that went through the same process. So that's the one-time payment of $180. And after that, there is the hourly rate, which varies between the different types of VA. For an Amazon VA, the cost is $5.50. That's US dollars. So $5.50 an hour. Social media VA is $6.50 and PPC VA is $7.50 an hour. And you don't have to take a VA for a full-time job. You can take a VA for as little as 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day and then grow from there. So it's very flexible. You're paying only for the hours that the VA actually worked for you. If the VA is sick or maybe they ask for a certain day off, then we refund you for this for these hours that were not used. And you're only paying for these hours. You don't have any additional payment or social security or days off or anything like that. It's really like working directly with the VA.
Yeah, and I've used your service, so I can also add that one of the VAs I worked with, the Amazon VA, I didn't have work for him. In 1 week, I had less work than I had in the following week, and he didn't complain about the fact that he overworked in the following week and kind of made up the hours that he hadn't really done in the first week. I'm not sure if he told you that, Gilad, but he was just a very mature and decent human being, and he knew how to manage himself. So I found that really useful because, even though we might set up a contract that says it's 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day, if they haven't fulfilled that daily rate, the fact that actually you're amalgamating it over a month is what's important, right? And that he might have done an 8-hour day in exchange for not having done something the week before. So I do like the flexibility. I think that's absolutely great.
I would say it doesn't surprise me also because, the fact that we're filtering so many VAs that come to us and we are only choosing the best ones, it doesn't mean that we're choosing the ones that have the best knowledge or the best experience. It's really, we're looking into the character. We're looking for those that has the best potential and they can really see that they will be great. And then once they enter our community, we celebrate their birthdays and we visit them in the Philippines, and all the managers are from the Philippines. They hang out together. So they really are becoming of a selected group. And then they really put the effort and the extra mile to work for you because they love what they do.
So we just need to repeat the rates. So it was $5.50 for the Amazon VA,
$6.50 for the social media VA, and $7.50 for the PPC VA.
So really easy numbers here. I'm just going to put it into the chat box. Christian, do you want to take it away with the questions?
Sure. Do you just work with Amazon VAs, or do you also have Shopify or Facebook campaigns, email marketing type VAs as well?
So, we are all focused on Amazon. So all our training are connected with Amazon for the Amazon VAs and the PPC VAs. However, the social media, anyway, it's not really all about Amazon. It's more about how to support your brand outside of Amazon to create brand awareness. So the social media VAs will know Facebook, they will know Instagram, they will have all this knowledge of all these things. But you gave the example of Shopify. So on Shopify, for example, we do not teach them about Shopify, but we have many sellers that sell on Amazon and on Shopify and on eBay in the same time. And the fact that they have a VA that was qualified enough and fast learner enough to know Amazon, then it's very easy to have them also know Shopify because basically it's e-commerce.
Yeah, and what I would just say there is that I tend to not hire somebody who is experienced, because in my experience, when you hire someone like that, they come with their own preferences and ways of working.
Exactly.
What I try and hire is somebody who's trustworthy and who can take instruction and can learn and develop. And then when I give them my methods, they can take that, work with that, and then when they have ideas, they can discuss with me if they want to change it, and we can decide what's the best way to go. So I think the key thing is hiring people who are capable, and then you can start to train them to do things in the way that you want them to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we have worked together, Gilad and I, and we have had a situation where he's flipped out one VA for another because actually, so I'm live proof that when it doesn't all go extremely well, and they're human beings, so you can't treat them like a product and expect them to be consistent. This isn't a factory that you're working with. It's human humans, and they can do all sorts of things, and they can present really well. And indeed, my first VA, she presented really well. She presented herself as an expert. This was in social media. But actually, after a week of working with her, I realized that it really wasn't going to work out. And so we flipped her out for somebody else who has been with me ever since. And she is just a dream to work with. Very keen to, and I find this with Filipinos generally speaking. Oh dear, we've lost Gilad there. Right, so should we start going through some of the questions, but try not some ourselves?
There's a couple of questions there about kind of trustworthiness and how do you know to trust the VAs you work with. And again, my own experience, the Philippines is a very trustworthy place in general, and only when you start working with Filipinos do you understand that they love to do things and they love to do tasks, but they don't have most of them don't have the same approach to breaking things and trying to be entrepreneurial in the same way that I think a lot of us are. And so over time you build up trust with your VAs. Now, I don't give my VAs my bank account details. I don't deal with payments in terms of paying VAT or paying suppliers, but everything else, my main VA in particular works with, and I'm perfectly happy with her doing that. I don't have any issue with her knowing supplier details or costs or who I work with or what I sell or anything else, because the chance of her doing something with that is microscopic. It's just I don't think it's going to happen. But you have to take your own call on that and decide how to work with people. I mean, my hiring process is slightly different to Gilad's. I mean, what I normally do is I would hire, if I have a position, I hire 3 or 4 people and get them all to do pretty much the same job for a month. I tell them all that it's a 1-month trial, and then over that month I can work out which of those 4 is the best person and the person that I am most comfortable working with, the person I feel I can trust the most. And then I hire that person full time, and then the other 3 I let go. And that's always worked for me. I think, I don't think you can learn from an interview what it's really like to work with someone. And the rates are relatively low in the Philippines, so it's not a massive cost to hire 3 or 4 people for a month.
Yeah, but for $180, you can get someone else to figure it out for you, which are the losers and which are the good ones. And so I've done your way as well, Christian. And actually, I have a very good permanent VA that's been with me for 5 years now. But when I need those extras, I go to Gilad. So I didn't want a full-time social media VA. I really only want her for the minimum hours per week, because that's all it takes to do the tasks that I need doing around social media. And like I said, we have a great one now. She's been provided to me through Gilad. Maybe I do pay $1 extra than I might have done going through another means. But I'm also very confident that, God forbid, should she ever be run over by the proverbial bus, she's going to be covered for by somebody else. And what I do like about Gilad's VAs is that they are not completely green, but you do need to train them in what you want them to do. But they do have a support system that sits there behind them. And that support system helps them to learn new stuff. They do training, they do webinars. So they do get a generic amount of information. It might not be specific to what you're asking them to do. So to answer some of these questions about, do you still have to tell them what to do? Yes, you do. You need to tell them what it is you want doing in your business. However, can you assume that they have a little bit of foreknowledge? Yes, you can, because either they might have already worked with other clients within the VAA Academy, or indeed they might have been through some training in advance of being put onto your business. Cool. Shall we answer some of the other questions here in the group?
So Gilad, one question that seems to come up is when they're hiring a VA from you, are you providing the VAs with SOPs for the standard way of doing, I don't know, PPC tasks or Amazon tasks, or will the entrepreneur hiring them have to give them their own method and their own process?
Well, it goes back to the question that we talked about before. I mean, our job is to train them so they will have the knowledge of what it is and how it's done, and the technical knowledge. However, specifically, we do not create SOPs the same way that we don't create templates for answering customers, for example, because this is really between each seller is working differently. Each seller would like to have a different SOPs, but it doesn't mean that you as a seller will have to create it. It means that the VA will create it for you under the way that you like it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Any others that we want to do? Should we go?
The question from Adam about, he's asking, do you need all the tools mentioned in order to have a VA team? You need some tools, Adam, but for example, Asana is completely free until I think you have 15 people on your team.
Yeah.
So, and that's 15 people in one project. So I've got an Asana board for ScaleForEtail, one for my own company, one for another thing I do. And each of those is a separate count of 15 people. And so, I'm nowhere near paying for Asana. So that's free. Loom, I believe, is free. I have a separate video system which I bought on AppSumo ages ago, so that's actually one-off cost. So recording your videos is free. The task management is free. Skype is effectively free. WhatsApp is free. So you don't have to spend money on these tools. If you want to do some kind of screen monitoring, then you can pay for that. But I've never done that. I just give my people things to do, and if they do them, then I'm happy. I don't need to know how many exactly what key pressures they made. So in terms of the system setup, with these days, there's enough, Dropbox you may have to pay for if you get to a certain size, but there's a fair amount of free storage, and also you can use Google Drive, which has a lot of free storage as well. So, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get started, and you're going to save a lot more than you spend is the short answer.
Yeah, I mean, I needed extra Dropbox, because I have hundreds of images for my social VA, but I've just paid for her subscription. It was cheaper to do that. So it's going on my credit card. And obviously she is getting the benefit of it to some extent, but it's only for the Dropbox that I have created for her. Well, there are a number of files in there, and there are tons and tons of images in there, but she can't really use it for anything else.
I mean, and equally with Dropbox, I don't even pay for Dropbox for my VAs because the free space is enough. So, we use Dropbox and we use Google Drive, but even with doing a lot of work, and if anyone's ever heard me talk about my VAs, but they do a lot of things, you don't have to. There's a lot of headroom before we have to start paying.
Yeah.
Question for Gilad. What's the minimum number of hours per week to take a VA from you?
Well, it depends on the type of VA. For an Amazon VA, it's 3 hours per day. So that's 15 hours per week, like 5 days a week. And for social media and PPC VAs, it's only 2 hours a day. So it's 10 hours a week.
And going back to PPC, how well trained are they by you in advance, and how much input does it need from us? Are they a little bit more technically advanced?
I would say they know a lot. We continue to teach them. I gave the example of the auto campaign and the negative option. So they already know this. I mean, the idea is that we continue to train them, and every time our managers, they listen to like 5 different podcasts and they subscribe to different courses. And our objective is that the managers will know a lot about PPC, and the same with social media. So they will always know, and they have team meetings and the webinars, like you mentioned. So the knowledge will go to all the VAs. However, like we said, each person is working differently. So we do not teach them like a strategic way of working. They will know how to adjust the bids, but they will not know what's your budget. You will have to know what's your budget. You will have to know which, when you want to push a product or not. So you will have to make the decisions, but the VA will know exactly what you're talking about and will have the knowledge of doing it.
Yeah, so you're not teaching them what's in the panel, how to look at it.
Yeah. No. You will not need to. You will not find yourself explaining to the VA what an ACOS is.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Understood. Hopefully that answers Gary's question there. And the one-time fee of 180, that's for all of them, right? It doesn't matter which type.
Yeah, it's always 180.
It's always 180. Okay. What else have we got here? Do you help them set up on the Amazon system with them providing their ID? So to answer Katie, you get the ID directly from them, and then you have to input it. You're the user. You're the only one that can input it. And this is for Amazon in Europe, where there are extra stringent requirements for people to provide their passport and identity information before they even get access to anything in Seller Central, let alone anything too sensitive. So as the account owner, you're going to have to do that. But it's no problem. I don't think, Gilad, your VAs would object to providing that information if they know why they have to give it.
No, of course not. They provide us with their passports as a part of their application.
Yeah.
Let me just show something as well. If I can write tab for it. This is an example of something which a VA can do, and it's a small thing, but it's a thing. And oops, sorry, get the right page. So in my existing VA, she's not a Pinterest VA or social media VA, but I came up with a process for her and gave it to her in the beginning of May. And now we have got a growing and improving Pinterest account. And that's just because repeated action makes things happen. And when you have, if it's yourself doing this, you never get the time and the headspace to spend, 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day doing Pinterest or doing these things. But when you have other people that you can come up with a process once, record it, give it to them, and then have some confidence they will do it every day or however often you tell them to do it, and do it repeatedly, it makes a difference because your business can move forward. It's not about, your business doesn't move forward just by you thinking, I should do this, and then me doing it every day. It's by you thinking once this should be done, and then you give it to somebody else to do. And that is a step change in both your daily grind as well as how your business grows. And I mentioned it earlier in the chat, someone's asking how much are VAs, but it's not really about how much they cost. It's about how much does your business grow and how much is it worth to you to have a bit more free time to spend with your family or your friends or on Zoom chats doing pub quizzes or whatever you can do these days in various phases of lockdown. But it is certainly worth it to me to hire. And I'm reading a book at the moment, which one of our members was very kind enough to send to me, 80/20 Marketing. And in that book, Perry Marshall, the author, talks about the fact that he thinks everybody in every walk of life, as soon as they value their own time above $30 an hour, they should hire a VA, because the time and the space and the headspace that person will create for you is more than worth the money you pay for them, because they can just do things that make your life easier. And I'm not earning from Gilad, but I just believe that the path to entrepreneurship involves you hiring a team. And just one other thing on that subject is my parents always ran a small business. They employed about 15 people, and they ran the business for 30 odd years till they retired. And they were always complaining about staff, and they always drilled into me, try and do something in your life. You don't have staff. Don't hire people because it's a pain. And it took me 20 years to get over that and to realize that actually hiring people is the key and it is essential. And until you do that and get over that mental block that you can't or shouldn't or it's difficult, you will not experience life in the way it can be experienced. So that's just my personal message there.
Yeah, do it on your own and you're a slave to your business, as was said earlier. Hire people, and you don't need to hire that many, or you don't need to hire for that much time. You can do it efficiently, and particularly through a system like Gilad's with VAA. 2 hours a day is not actually that much. And that gives you the flexibility to have the PPC person and to have the specialist doing social media. And that is separate to your generic Amazon VA, you know, and it really does help. And actually, if you put the right SOPs in place, you don't need to stick necessarily just to those very strict disciplines. Like the social media VA can learn how to do email marketing and can learn maybe how to do some other stuff. Or, you know, my Amazon VA who can put up listings can easily go and check my Shopify store and manage those listings too. They're really, in fact, Shopify is much easier from a back-end perspective than the product database in Amazon. But if we're using pretty similar descriptions of the same products, I don't see why they can't do that. Now, it's an SOP. I've had to create it, you know, but it's fine. It's no big deal. And actually, it's really hard to mess up. There is just one final question before we go that's come from Martin about what if you have a VA who's working on many different Amazon accounts, or certainly more than one. What about the security issues associated with that? So Gilad, can we just get your opinion on that?
Yeah, I would start by saying, yeah, I can tell you that all the VAs in our company, they sign an NDA. And like you mentioned before, you can even give the VA herself an NDA to sign directly with you. That will, like you said, it doesn't mean that you will go and chase her in the Philippines for that. It would make you more secure, maybe feeling secure, but it's not necessarily that. I would say that once you've decided that you want to take an employee, then you're taking a risk. Because there is always a risk when having other people exposed to your business, but it's a risk that is well enough. And the question is, if you know how to find the right VAs, and if you're going through a company, so I can say on my end that, you know, the VAs that come to us, they pass through such a long procedure, and we really know them by heart. We get into their souls, and we know who they are, and we know that we can trust them. And once you have all the other security measurements that you said before, then you can be pretty much assured that the VA will be confidential. They will not tell anybody. We don't know anything about our employers and the different sellers. We are not exposed to their information. It's a part of the way we work, and the VAs are obliged never to discuss anything related to it. So I would say it's a risk anyway, but it's when you know who are you taking the VA from, then it feels much more secure than working with somebody that you have no idea where they are from and who else they're working with. But it's anyway a risk, any way you do it. But I think it's when you know what you gain into. And I've never heard any case in any, we work with more than 100 Amazon sellers for more than 3 years now. I've never heard any case of an Amazon VA betraying your confidentiality or trust.
No, so this great, by the way, awesome, and I would agree with you. You are taking a bit of a risk, but you just find ways to mitigate it, and some of them are a bit cosmetic, like the NDA that I make them sign for me, or the instruction that I give them that they're not allowed to talk within your team meetings about my brands. But at the end of the day, you know, if I develop a good relationship with them, they're going to want to please me, and they're going to want to be part of the business and participate in what's going well. But the question here was a bit more technical. It was about the fact that Amazon tracks the IP addresses of the sign-in that you do.
Oh, I see. I didn't understand that. So
a VA that's doing 3 clients at once, then how do they manage that?
A VA can even work with 100 clients. It's okay, as long as each seller is working the way it should and never give their username and password. They create a user permission for that specific email that they've created. Then that's okay. The VA, imagine that you're working with all these email companies that send, you know, thousands of emails to your customers. It basically is a VA. It's not a VA, it's a software, but you're giving access to somebody else to send emails on your behalf, and then they do it for thousands of companies. So it's basically the same. If you do by the rules, you don't have to do any like buying a different computer or working with any different VPNs and so on. You don't need to do that. You just need to give them user permission.
Having said that, what I do always recommend with my VA is that VAs, I should say, is that if they are going into one of the Amazon accounts, I have 2 businesses, so I have 2 brands, 2 different Amazon accounts with Amazon's approval. So if they want to go into one, they should dedicate a browser to that particular one, because the browser remembers you and all that kind of stuff, and the passwords are already in there. And so that's the only thing I do. So I recommend one is done on Firefox and the other on Chrome, or whatever browser you want to choose, and it just makes their logins easier and they don't lock themselves out. But that's more to do with human stuff than to do with, and yes, Amazon is tracking it, but it's not an issue. It's an issue if you are the seller and the owner of the account and you don't have Amazon's permission to run more than one account, typically. Or you haven't got specific permission like I have to run 2 separate Amazon businesses, then trying to log in is going to get you into a muddle. But I myself have to manage that by making sure I'm using 2 different browsers for the different Amazon businesses. So that's...
Gilad, do you monitor what type of niche the clients are in, so that one VA doesn't have very similar products?
Yeah, that's
different.
Well, I mean, we do not know anything about the client from the very beginning. I mean, when we are not exposed to that information. So and when we're connecting, if the seller would like to tell us, and also a lot of times when the seller, they are looking for products, they do not know which product they will find. They tell the VA, go over all the categories. So as long as each VA is looking for, but you know what, when I know that one seller is telling me, I'm going to be I'm going to be using this VA for looking for products to launch, then I will not connect this VA with another seller that wants to be looking for products to launch, just, to avoid anything. But, I'm covered anyway with all the procedures and the way that they know exactly what to do.
Okay.
Cool. Good.
One last question for you. And that's around...
last question. Okay, go for it.
And how do things like holidays and sick days work when working with your VAs?
I'm sorry, what?
How do things like holidays and sick days work?
So first of all, when we are sending the contract to the sellers, they see there is a list of holidays that these are considered as days off. Christmas, we don't expect them to be working on Christmas unless they want to. So there is a list of these days that are religious days that are important to them. But it's just the religious days that are off. All the other days that are, national days and all that stuff, they're allowed to ask for a day off, but it will be under your approval, and they will ask it like 2 weeks in advance. And anyway, all these days that the VAs are not working, they are not paid by you. I mean, the VA is not working, so you're not paying for these days, and you will know it in advance.
Great, thank you.
Great. I'm just answering somebody's question here in writing. I might as well just say it. So the last question from Adam was, what if I want to hire one VA to take care of everything before adding more to the team? Of course you can do that. There's nothing stopping you do that. What you'll find, though, is that PPC is quite particular, and that if you want somebody who's going to find it really easy to grasp PPC, you probably want to hide that off. But you could hire somebody to try and do everything. Christian's VA, who isn't particularly a Pinterest expert, at least she wasn't until a few months ago, probably could now position herself as a Pinterest expert. But that's only because she's had the right coaching, the right process. She's been doing it for a few months and successfully. So therefore, but actually that probably came more from Christian. Her execution is what's good.
There are 2 things here. One is that you're not buying software that does one job. You're hiring somebody who's a capable human being, and once you understand their attitude and whether they're a numbers person or creative person, they can follow process. You can then give them other processes. I mean, my main VA, she is very good at giving her a task and then following it through. And so Pinterest, working with some of the speakers we had last year at ScaleForEtail, worked out a process for her to follow, and she follows that. And it's not by being particularly skilled or experienced in Pinterest, it's just repetitive action. It's just doing simple things over and over again is so powerful. Entrepreneurs forget about it and they think, oh, but it's the big, massive things I thought of and quantum leaps I made that make the business. It's not. It's the small things you do every day that really make a difference and can wear things down and make things happen. And VAs let you do that. And so, you're hiring real people that can do real things, and you don't have to just give them one particular small package of things. If you hire someone and they're capable, give them other tasks, see how they go, and then give them more. And your business is not as complex as you think it is. It doesn't take rocket science to even to run PPC. A lot of it is just checking the results. Are they positive or negative? What do we need to turn off? What do we need to turn on? What do we need to try? So it doesn't require 4 years of degree level training to do these things. And as embarrassing as it is to ourselves to realize that what we're doing is not rocket science, it's not. And most of what we do is just doing simple things over and over again. And so hire someone to do them for you.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. And I'm actually probably really tough to work with. I'm quite perfectionist. I don't like people to mess things up. There are parts of the Amazon business that could get you into hot water, if you ask people for a review, but it was a giveaway or whatever, or there are areas around Amazon where you bump into the furniture and you genuinely hurt yourself. But I just make sure that I wouldn't give that to a VA until I'm really happy that I've got to know them, or I give them a section of it that I can check and make sure, particularly in the early days. I think in the early days, it's really about accompanying them on a journey and getting them to a position where they themselves feel very confident about what they're doing. Because don't forget, they won't feel confident. These are quite a deferential kind of people. That's true of Asian culture in general. And like I said, there is a very, very strong desire to please. So it's important that you work with them to praise them for what they've done well, but help them to expand and learn and do better. And by the way, they're really great at taking criticism as well. So taking we need to do this better next time. Here's the way to do it, kind of thing. They don't get offended like a Brit might if you said that to them.
There's a question before about Asana, and I'll show. I don't know if you can read that very well, but this is the template I have for when I create new tasks in Asana. So basically, I just copy this and paste it as the start of the new task. It's just called 00. So whenever I want to do it, I just type 00 in the search and it comes up as it's easy to find. And what I do here is whenever I have a task for somebody, I just write a 1-sentence objective as to what we're trying to do, why, so they have some picture of why it's important in the bigger scheme of things to get this done. It just helps them to understand what they're doing and how it fits into the bigger picture. Then the basic method may be a few bullet points or a couple of sentences about what to do. Most of it's in the video explanation. So I record myself a video of me doing the task with a bit of voiceover explaining what I'm doing. And then the VA can then go and edit the methods. If it's a repeatable task, they'll edit the method and fill in more detail about what it actually involves. And then there's a couple of, then any important files, just list them out. So there's Dropbox or Google Drive links. So these are the files you'll be working with when you're doing this task. If it is a long task, then there's just an extra step to keep track of how long they're spending doing it. And then one of the things I think is most important is just the task is complete when, and then there's this kind of sentence here so that I am clear to them what this task means and when it's finished, and they know what they have to do to actually finish it. So if it is posting on Pinterest every day, the task is complete when you've done 5 repins or whatever it is. Or if it's checking customer service stuff, the task is complete. There's 3 a day, and the task is complete when there's no outstanding customer service messages that haven't been answered. So it's just being very clear with them. This is what you need to do. This is how to do it. This is why we do it, and this is how you know it's done. And I think that helps, and I think it just makes it clear for everyone, what's going on, and it just makes building a system and building a business easier because everyone knows what page they're on and why they're doing things.
Cool, good. Hey, wow, I never expected this session to go on quite this long. I bet you didn't, Gilad. But I have to say a big thank you. That was very good. it seems simple and not like rocket science, but actually until you get it right, it's kind of tough, isn't it? Because you can make so many mistakes. Like you said, you go out there and you see hundreds and hundreds of CVs, but picking the very best is actually quite hard.
And even after that, like working with the VAs also, you need to know that it's a procedure that takes time. You have to be patient in the beginning. You have to understand that the VA maybe will make some mistakes, but you'll go over it, and he or she will learn, and they will stay with you for the long run. And I have so many sellers that started working with us, and then they just say, you know, why didn't I do it before? Why did I wait until my business grew to that point that I couldn't do it anymore? Why didn't I do it before so I could grow much faster? So yeah, you have to understand that you're taking this decision and you go with it, and whatever will be, and you will see that you will not, you know, that's the way you do business.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right. So just a quick reminder. So thank you. I'm going to do an applause from everyone. And I'm sure you'll get contacted by people. But should we just put up that last slide, or Christian, can you just put in the chat what the email is if they want to reach out to Gilad to follow this up?
You can add my personal email, or you just add like vaaphilippines.com.
Okay. All right. There we go. Yeah, or it's just Gilad at vaaphilippines.com if you wanted to talk to Gilad himself. And then next week, like I said at the start, for those who missed it, we're going to cover Brexit. I don't think there's a single expert on Brexit, but I am going through a journey that I think I've worked out for myself, more or less, how to get around this and continue to have a business in Europe that isn't going to fail because of what this government has arranged for us. But it's not straightforward. It isn't doing what we've done in the past. We've got to make some fundamental changes to the business, and we're going to need some help to do so. So we're going to need help from freight forwarders. We're going to need warehousing help. We're going to need VAT help. We're going to need help in setting up a European company. We're going to need a bank, obviously. And so what we're going to do is just take you on the journey and see whether, and it's like a diary of Shelley's journey, and then bring in the experts to talk about how they can support and build a system essentially for everyone in the group to be able to contend with this issue. And by the way, if you know other people that might be interested, do let them know about this session. It also affects foreign sellers who have established their foreign business for Europe in the UK, as opposed to in Germany, France, Italy, Spain, or indeed any of the other 27 countries. So it doesn't matter if you're a Brit or you're an American and you've decided to do your business, your pan-EU business out of a UK entity, you're going to have to figure out what to do next. There you go. Oh, and questions, loads of questions, post them in the group and we'll try and make sure that we therefore have a crystal ball where we can predict the answers we need to give you. Okay, cool. Well, thank you very much to everyone. Gilad, when I press the end button, it'll be goodbye.
All right.
For you as well as for everybody else. So thank you. I think it's been an absolutely great session and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Ciao. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.